It looks like everything is working. Welcome to another episode. Program. I gotta remember that. I call mine programs. Like Jason Black calls his broadcast, right? And I'm sharing this one. Cause Black Squad, Kenyatta blackboarded up, you know? This was, we were all looking for the next fight. And in fact, I Googled what's the next big heavyweight fight. And the AI told me Moses I hope I'm pronouncing that right, versus Dylan White. He spells White with a Y, Whyte. I guess that's hip hop. But yeah, there it is. This was a broadcast the other day, Jason Black versus the Passport Bros. This is BGS brought this one up, and it was. Let me sip my coffee before I. It was lame. But there's no disrespect. It's we all trying to find the next great fight. We all like to see a good fight. That's why Tyson, whoever the kid is that he fought, and the whole time Tyson was trying not to catch him with some good uppercuts. And at the same time, you don't want to see Tyson really take a good jab from a young bull, you know what I mean? And really get hurt out there. Like, you know what I mean? We over 50, it's not safe, man. It ain't safe to be in that ring with these young boys. But knuckle it up a little bit, play, we get it, My son's like 6'8" now, so it's like, all right, let's hit it. But it's more so with him. I'm trying to get his training on Punch Out, where you had the old head on the bicycle and my son running behind me trying to keep up. Right? Mike Tyson's Punch Out, ironically, right? And a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. I didn't come on here just to rap to be rapping. How much time I'm wasted already? I did want to get a point across, without dragging out. Like a lot of YouTubers like to drag stuff out. And it's still, with me, it's still hip hop. It's an American culture created by the children of the 1960 civil rights movement. First tautology is the excluded middle, to be or not to be, right? And how we map and equate that to love or hate. And why y'all keep choosing hate is beyond me. But I understand, because love and hate, that would make that the contradiction, right? When we're dealing with these algebraic logical theories, right? We're dealing with not new ideas; these are ancient ideas. But we are dealing with determining, or the tautology, like the three cases that I like to say, right? Cases, the tautology, the indeterminate, and the contradiction. But when I'm dealing with the contradiction, I'm dealing with a lot of other issues now, because now it's the conflict. What's the words I'm looking at for that I've been using? Competition, I guess. Counterpart is one of the newer ones. But my son was here. We would do a word of the day, like we was doing things like that. But now he's going to high school now, so it's time to pull out to Kill a Mockingbird. Let's read something with a little bit of substance to it, But I don't want to go that hard on him early. So we probably settle with what's the one with the boys on the island? I remember reading that book. I'll read it again too, because you can't get just like watching a movie. You can't just watch a movie one time and then know everything about the movie and then be able to critique it. Like I was writing to my son about that yesterday. Like, Siskel and Ebert, you would have to watch a movie 2 or 3 times before they did a review on it. A lot of these, like the Ben Shapiro's and these frauds, like they just want to be in on the thing. So it's like you seen Superman, and now you want to be able to be like, it's a 5. Like you only seen it one time, dude. You ain't peeped all the nuances of it, all right? I watched it and studied, and then I had to think about it and think about it and think about it and think about it before I said, yo, now that movie was more like an 8.5. It might be higher than that because there's a lot going on. We get it. It is a little slapstickish, but it is, and it's not as slow as the original Superman movie. But now you're dealing with, in the original Superman movie, you're dealing with a Lex Luthor back then. Today's Lex Luthor is just as smart or smarter than Tony Stark's. Right? So if everything that Tony Stark's could do, you know what I mean? Lex Luthor could do it, right? He might be smarter. He's just that he's an evil genius, you know? Like you got to take that into consideration. That's how he's able to, open up pocket dimensions and and have monkeys controlling the internet, like being the AI. Like that's evil genius right there, right? That's over your heads, right? And to base it on some like AI is really like that, when most of y'all don't know how to program in the beginning's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. That's the basic, and that's where the logic began for me back in the 80s. So I have a little better understanding on the capabilities of AI. Well, can we ever figure out what's 1 over 0, right? The undefined, the indeterminate. Like, what is it? Undefined, indeterminate, or doesn't exist, or whatever, right? The empty set. Like, we still trying to figure out the empty set. When dealing with, the logic of life and the fact that it's only one timeline. Y'all keep talking all this multiverse and multi-dimensions and all these different timelines. You know what I mean? Hence, that's why I'm saying the choice is an illusion, right? Jason Black or Passport Bros, right? That's really what the verses is. Which one you rolling with? Who you rolling with? Who you rolling with? Jason Black or the Passport Bros? The Passport Bros, all this, we gonna go over here and I'm gonna find me a traditional, like, all right, dude, whatever. You can go over there and they 304s too, yo. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay here in America, let them come to me. But I'm too old for that nonsense anyway, Doing all these odd jobs these past 4 or 5 years, and dealing with these young Jones, and not being disrespectful. They weren't disrespectful. It was cute, and then I'm trying to help them out and teach them the ropes, and then the discrimination comes because the man is sitting there giving directions to a DEI hire, trying to push them to push me out. Like, seriously, stop, dude. Like, I did that under the whole Obama, the whole time with Obama, right? The same things was happening under the first Trump term, because now we had to fix what Obama was doing with all this LGBTQIA plus DEI PDF files. Changing the fundamental definitions of affirmative action and how it benefited, some crazy ass white women. Right? So that's why my demographics on women is not going to grow, because I ain't got a problem saying that they crazy. And then it's some of my friends is married. And I'm not talking about your wife, man. That's your wife. That's your wife, right? But I am a traditional but reader. I believe in God, but I'm a reader of the Bible, and I ain't mean to use but it just makes more sense. When God said, Adam, Eve, you're the head. It made sense because only one can lead. So he made him the leader. Now, whether or not he chooses to defer to her, that's up to him. Like, dude, all right, cool. So, and when I go hang out with my friends and they married and they defer to and I give her that ultimate respect. Hey, man, no, what's up? Good, right? He deferred to you, right? So I give you that respect. I give you that respect anyway, because that's what I'm supposed to do anyway, right? I'm supposed to respect everybody. Can't have respect, right? Yeah, wasting my time. There's a lot of disrespectful people. So I'm seeing that on TikToks, because my last two videos, I did two quick little videos on Superman, and I'm running kind of long on this because it's really not about guys fighting each other. It is more about, yo, what you doing? You want to play some chess? Play some chess. Hey, I got some coffee right here. Put a little bit of Kahlua in it or whatever. You know what I mean? A little bit of, VO and Kahlua or whatever. Sippy, right? Because that was always my thing, right? I would do coffee more so than wine, and so it's like I get a bottle of wine. It's like I think I'm gonna start collecting it. Just put it in my wine. I'm gonna make a library wine rack. Put my wine, and then I don't even have to drink it. Just collect it, and it might be worth something one day. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? Pass it down to the great grandchildren 25 years from now. Something does it go bad eventually? I don't know. We'll figure that out as I start to study wine collecting. And we all trying to find new businesses and be able to build our business and trade amongst each other. That's why the boycotters are very hypocritical to me, because we're going to boycott, and it's like, dude. The only thing to boycott would be to get a better price, right? That's basically, right? What you boycotting is it's not boycotting. It's, yo, can I get a better deal than that, right? So, shout out to Big C. I'm still still for you, man. Like he was into breeding dogs, and one of his main puppies passed away, died. So my heart's going out to him, and I know that took a little. It's more than an economical hit. It is the bond that you build with an animal, a pet. It's special. Like, what I mean? I hated cats, right? I'm still not fond of cats, but I miss Tigger. Not Tigger. What was my last cat name? Sonic. My son named the black cat Sonic Cuphead. We adopted a black cat in here. And I don't see any mice or anything, and I'm trying to keep up with it. But I do want to get another cat, and I want to get a boxer. I want a boxer, and I want a cat, and start bring back, because when I grew up, I had a Great Dane, Dana. My mom, we had a Great Dane, and it was a half. It was actually a Dalmatian. The dad was a Great Dane or something like that. So it was a mixed breed, and that's where people get a little offended if you say that about humans. But therein is the fight that we having with the racial wars and everything. So and just having fights in general, like it's. But this whole Jason Black versus the Passport Bros was funny, because the Passport Bros are coming after Jason Black, but it is the Democrats that started these little fights with each other, because Barack Obama came out his mouth and attacked BGS, kinda, well, the Manosphere. The Passport Bros are part of the Manosphere. Women don't care about these things, So that's why they don't know what I'm talking about, really. All right. So that's what kind of makes my channel more, and that's why I'm saying the demographics on my channel is mostly men. I don't have any women following my YouTube channel. Facebook, I do have both. Is a 55-45 split, men to women for my Facebook. But most of the women are family, and friends that I grew up with. And they ain't messing with me right now because for the past 4 years, you gotta stop playing around. You gotta stop playing around. You gotta stop playing around. Because I was like that in college anyway too. They know that, but they act like because we would what we used to do in college. We sit around in a circle, and they have a bus fest. It was called busing, or janking is what my son's mother, and they say down south they call it janking. What did Tariq call it? Tariq calls it giving the dimes or something. Well, hold up, count. I can diss you, dissing. You know what I mean? It's play fighting. It's hey, you got a big head, and so since I got a big head, I used to always get the big head Charlie Brown. You know what I mean? Chuck jokes all the time. So it was here come big headed Charlie Brown. Like I used to get that all the time. That's Chuck being my nickname for my governmental name. You know what I mean? And we as hip hop, we create names for ourselves. That's why when you do look up like ODB, Old Dirty Bastard, it says A-Sun Unique, and all his different names, and RZA has a whole, and KRS-One really doesn't have too many different names. Rakim is just Rakim. That's been kind of a new phenomenon where people try to grab as many different names. Well, Chuck D is Chuck Dangerous, and other kind of things like that. Even Prince used to do it with his singing. He become an alter ego. So Camille was one of his alter egos when making songs. It was his feminine aspect in the song or whatever. And it's still one of my all-time favorites. If I Was Your Girlfriend, still one of my all-time favorite tracks or whatever. But it's like a transgenderism of the mind or whatever. But I'm still rapping about. Gay at the beginning was Jack Tripper pretending to be to hate women so that he can live with two Johns, which is based upon an old British show where a guy was living with two girls. Whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like there it is, right? And then The Odd Couple, that's an old classic show where two old guys, divorcees or whatever, got together. Boom. Now somehow that turned into, extremely gay. Like, oh, come on with all that. Like, you know what I mean? They, two old guys, kissing passionately in the park, kind of. Come on, stop. Stop. There it is. So, yeah, I found myself just rapping and let y'all know a little bit more about me and myself. But like I was saying, we were having little sessions and sitting in a circle at the lunch table, and that was another thing. You have a battle, a comedy battle, and that's what most Def Comedy Jam. They were like little battles. You didn't call each other's names out. Even the great MCs. It was Big Daddy Kane is dissing somebody. He's talking about how great he is. So he's the greatest, BS rapper, right? I'm just spitting, I'm that dope, I'm that great, I'm that, right? He's dropping all his braggadocious, right? So it's like, hold on, who is he talking about? So then as soon as he says the teacher is teaching, and it's like, oh, he coming at the KRS-One. Like, he's not. But we do know KRS-One was like, I'm the first one to say that I was the teacher, kind of a thing. So that's where it was like they battling, but they weren't. Same with Rakim and EPMD, for example. You know what I mean? They was battling, but they weren't. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you talking about me, talking bad about me. Like, you know what I mean? So it was always like that in the background. And even before Biggie and Tupac passed away, like I said, KRS-One dropped the Automatic. And I always thought, he coming after Tupac neck because Tupac was the one that dropped the one talking about sleeping with Biggie's wife first, and it was like, dude, you stepping over the you shouldn't do that, right? Because that goes against God, right? Like, yo, that's right. Like, that ain't cool, dude. Like, people do get murdered over stupid stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then Biggie responded the way he responded or whatever, and I don't. And I gotta really go through it to really see if Biggie really said, Tupac, you were right, nothing like that, right? I guess, but when Karis One dropped the Automatic, and he was like, when you was home with your mother, afraid of the dark, I was sleeping out in Prospect Park, eating one meal every 48 hours, writing dope rhyme styles that you now devour. Who do you think it's all about survival? I got only friends because I killed all my rivals. And it was like, yo, he coming after Pac neck. But then if you really listen to it, he might be coming after Biggie too, right? So he was coming after everybody, but Biggie and Tupac was at the forefront about it. And then it was just like the very next day, Pac, and then that next year, Biggie, and it was like, yo, right? The teacher's still with us, and I see him on tour, and it's good to see him on tour and everything. And, you know what I mean? But Kendrick killing it right now. I keep seeing these Kendrick tours, and the crowds is crazy, and they jumping all over the place, and it's like, blame the culture, blame that. And it's like, yeah, but he's overseas. Like, he's on some worldwide tour thing. He's doing this around the world. And y'all still going, it's the culture's fault that, and it's clearly a Black American culture, right? I like to say it's the Hip Hop Alliance. They say they're the ones that say that, or we are the ones. See, I'm a part of it because I'm a member. I still got to pay my dues and everything, so forgive me on that, brother Chuck D or whatever, yada. Chuck D's my big brother, so I could talk to him like that. What was I saying? So yeah, I'm a member of that, but the foundational Black Americans, that's we had to say we the community, right? So now the community, this is what we have to do. We have to delineate all this war going on around the world. And it's like, it's war here in America. It's like, I ain't at war with nobody in America. Like, you know what I mean? That's my brother. Yeah, he might be mad at me because, you know what I mean, I might have miss or whatever, like, you know what I mean, and says something, you know what I mean, jokingly about something and he didn't like it, and it's my apology, maybe he took it the wrong way. We'll move on from that. Let's go play some chess or some dominoes or some spades or something like that at the next cookout. Like, that's usually how you squash the beef early. All right, but so Jason Black and BGS, it's no real beef. It's just them trying to, hey, it's a fight going on over here. Check out our fight. You know what I mean? And then women doing the same thing. It's like, y'all really not supposed to be doing that. We get it. I don't like women boxing, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like they could fight too. It's like, I don't like women's basketball. I watch it. It is a little more, you know what I mean, strategic because you don't have the high fly, the 7 foot, if I get within an inch of the rim, I'm going to dunk it on your head type of players, The women can't dunk like that, so you got to move the ball around, take good shots and things like that. You got to really play fundamental basketball, the women do, in order to win, right? The guys can cheat a little bit because, you know what I mean, these dudes can jump, put the ball underneath their head 360 and dunk it with, either hand. Like, it is amazing to see that. But it gets corny because a lot of these guys are walking now and double dribbling and, you know what I mean, and skips and like, come on, y'all really cheating now. But it's all good. We're going to figure out the game and get the game right the right way. Just like football is looking real good right now. Because they did have to protect themselves. yeah, like I said, I played cards with Andre Waters once, and when I met him, then he was a little psychotic, a little bit, um, and he got me by a couple years. You know what I mean? But rest in peace to him, and to say that that was the only thing that shortened his life. Was playing football is sad because of all the contact and things of that nature, and it makes you wonder if that's why Reggie White, even the greatest defensive player of all time, passed away young, because of the stress that football put on their bodies like that. So they're being a little more cautious and you know what I mean. So it's still a great game to watch. And then once you get to the Super Bowl, it should be gloves off, and that's why the Eagles won, because it was gloves off. We allowed to punch in the face now a little bit, and you know what I mean, because that's the point that you're working up to. It does benefit certain teams over others when you do it like that, because the season is long. So, but I'm kind of rapping a little bit just to show this is what Mel. This is what we really want to rap about. Like we really like it's Curious One versus Big Daddy Kane. It's like, come on, man, they friends. We not, you know what I mean? But or the one that I as soon as we started getting into battle raps and stuff, or this versus thing that they did. You pick 10 songs, I pick 10 songs, and then we perform our 10 songs or whatever. The songs that I grabbed were the two people was LL Cool J versus KRS One, and I took LL Cool J. I need love, right? It's a ballad, you know what I mean? It's not my favorite LL ballad. My favorite LL ballad is actually "I Want You" off of Radio. I'm just keeping it 100. Right? That was my game when I see the Joan on the street. You know what I mean? See a girl walking the street, say, "Wait, we're gonna come by my crib, eat some donuts and milk, listen to a pop tune." Like, did I even try that on a couple? Yeah, maybe, you know what I mean? A little bit, trying to spit the game, So yeah, LL might have gave me my game back in the day. Whatever, punk. And I'm only like that with LL because it is like I need love, and then I go or versus KRS One, love's going to get you. Now you're talking about that children's story, right? That material love, that mammon that y'all praising and all that. You know what I mean? I'm just in love with that girl. I'm in love with that car. I'm in love with that, right? That's going to get you. There it is. There it is. So that was a lot of, you know what I mean? That was a lot of rap, and that was the whole 30 minutes. So I done messed up the whole presentation, right? The presentation was supposed to have been culture. Culture is it's the earth. It's the mother. Culture is the mother. Culture is the mother. The universe, that's God's time. Or timeline, or whatever you want to believe, right? So, in God's timeline, the community came. How does the community start? With the leader. It was the birth of the leader. Now, we in 2025, right? So year zero is when God was born. I ain't got a problem with it. Year zero was the year that God was born. Right? Y'all want to call him Yeshua? Y'all want to call him Yosef? Yeshua ben Yosef? Or Jesus? Or Jesus? Right? Whatever y'all want to call him. Right? Show some respect. If y'all study his words, study his words. Right? If that's what you claim to be, then you're supposed to obey those words. So that's why I apologize if I say, hey, you got ugly feet or whatever, right? Sticks and stones break bones. Words shouldn't hurt you. I apologize, my bad. Right? Hey, let's go do this or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Or whatever, we'll figure out, you know what I mean? We'll do some kind of business transaction or whatever. Go over here to the Asians, they get your feet done or whatever, right? There it is. But that's the community. You build a community. The culture is the mother. The community is the child. Yes, the community can grow. The community can grow from the culture, but the community is a subset of the whole culture. Even though the community can grow outside of the culture, right? There it is. So you see, add the movement to it. It can grow outside of the culture. There's still a culture in the community. That they completely separating is an illusion. That's an illusion, right? I was trying to. All right, I went too far. All right, let me go boom, boom, and then I added a little. I ain't had enough, so you can still see a little bit of shade how they intersect or whatever. We're gonna get into all the different set theory and out, but I just want to get y'all to see the idea of yes, it appears like the community is separating from the culture, but the community started from that culture, and that community can move with their leader to another culture, yes, and become a part of that culture. Now, does it assimilate, or does it take over that culture, or does it, all the above, right? That's where we kind of, trying to figure out. So that's why I kind of just, showing it just how it is right there. Community, culture, intersecting, yes. Foundational Black Americans, that's my community. Yes, the Hip Hop Alliance, that's my culture, right? Where am I at in this Venn diagram, quote unquote? If we were to plot it on some coordinate planes or whatever, right? With functions and all that good stuff to really show the spherical aspects of it, I'm at the origin. So, but I'll get back to explaining that a little later on too. I'm already over my time. I didn't get a chance to share this. I wanted to share a little bit more about Carly Cunningham and her speaking about delineating in front of Congress. I'm going to share some DeAndre later on too. I just wanted to have a quick heart-to-heart with y'all and let y'all know what direction I'm going with. And hopefully y'all appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. I'm going to get back to Superman and explain why this is the best Superman ever. Right? I shared that on TikTok, and now they want to argue with me and whatever. I do little comments at them. I'm not growing on TikTok. On YouTube, I got over 1,000 views for both of them for 2 videos that I made. On TikTok, I only got 400 or 500. People want to comment and argue and everything. On YouTube, they more so, boom, hit the like button and kept it moving. So I did get like 5, 6, 7, 8 likes on, and it was the same content comparing Malcolm X to Superman, like a real life hero versus a fictional hero that's based upon life of when life was transforming from paganism, the sun god Ra, to our Lord and Savior and the Messiah. So we'll rap more about that. And me and my son, we're still working on our thing. This was what we initially. He got Superman #1 comic. I have a Silver Surfer first comic, and that's the battle. Superman versus Silver Surfer, right? And yeah, this Superman video, he could take he can't take a punch as good as Man of Steel, but Man of Steel was they overpowered him, right? And yes, you can overpower Silver Surfer, and then that's why I didn't really care for saying, Fantastic Four. Like now, they're just going to completely ignore Silver Surfer and what he was bringing to the table, and replaced it with Silver Surfer. Okay, I keep doing that, and stop. One God, our Father, all the time. Hip hop, life, love, one. God is love. Hip hop is life. Time is holy. Money, it's wasting my time. It's nothing more than a fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist. Because economics, whether you're trying to understand macro or micro, is nothing more than the art of making the most out of hip hop. And that's life. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I'll be back with another video. I'm gonna do a couple of gameplays, I promise my son, just to show y'all some games that we might be playing. Peace.